Hey there, and welcome to You Talk. We highlight stories across Canada, the diverse cultures and communities living here, and organizations that help make life the best it can be. I'm your host, Ryan Funk. In our ever-changing world, we continue to see the impact humanity has had on our ecosystems, wildlife, and the planet. But there are things we can do to make a difference and reduce our carbon footprint. I had the opportunity to chat with Jessica Correa, CEO of Random Acts of Green. She shares how easy and fun it can be to live a more environmentally conscious lifestyle, build a green community, and having conversations around environmentalism.
My name is Jessica Correa, and I'm the founder and CEO with Random Acts of Green. I was born and raised in Oakville, Ontario, and I moved to Peterborough, Ontario when I was about 18 years old. And I, throughout my life, I've, seen a lot of environmental problems, whether it was as a young girl, I saw, just the amount of energy that my parents and my sisters wasted by not turning off the lights. And that frustrated me from a young age. And then throughout my teenage years, I worked at a fast food restaurant. I saw the amount of waste that was thrown out there. And then as a young adult, I had the opportunity to work at a landfill. I got to then see the amount of waste that was thrown out there too as well. And all of these collective experiences really frustrated me and kind of empowered me to try to do something about it. And I was constantly faced with the phrases, there's nothing I can do. This doesn't matter. Who cares? This is pointless. It's hopeless. We're all doomed. That type of attitude. And that really frustrated me. So after I did my degrees, I did one in environmental science and studies at Trent University, and then I did a master's as well. So I did 2 degrees, and I decided that I would turn my master's degree into what I now call today Random Acts of Green. So Random Acts of Green is a social enterprise, and what we do is we bring together both individuals and organizations in an online collective climate action community that has a vision to basically build a world where everyone feels empowered to take action together. So we like to say big or small, we embrace it all. So it can be as small as installing a composter or refusing single-use plastics like plastic bags or a plastic straw, or it could be as big as, having an electric vehicle. And we like to say that all of these actions really do make an impact. And so we want to showcase and connect the dots between those things and to show how they're all interconnected, and that, the one thing that you're doing today and the one thing somebody did 3 months ago, they're all connected to each other. And that through this community thread that we now call Random Acts of Green, it's this movement, it's this social enterprise, it's this group, and it's a big collective of people that really want to do positive things for the planet. Sometimes they don't know where to start, or sometimes they just, they feel judged, or they feel like people make them feel so guilty for not doing enough. And we really don't, we don't really stand for that. We stand for trying to be positive and kind of being a cheerleader and trying to encourage people to take action together. So in short, that's kind of how Random Acts of Green started. I've now been running Random Acts of Green for 5 years, and we're a small team. So we have about 6 people right now on the team that kind of work with us and help us fulfill our mission. And the way that we kind of sustain ourselves, like through the business model, is just through memberships mostly, and through sponsorships, and through some advertising too as well on different platforms. So we've been able to keep Random Acts of Green alive and keep the movement and the vision and the mission strong as possible throughout the last several years. And I'm very proud of the work that we've been able to do in the last 5 years, and I'm excited to see where things continue from here.
Well, it sounds so cool, like this effort, like kind of this wanting to make a difference and create a community of like-minded individuals to come together and, be that change that, people said you couldn't be, or it's hopeless.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And I've completely lost count of, the amount of people now that have said, you're the reason I have a rain barrel in my backyard, or you're the reason I've decided to eat more plant-based meals during the week, or, you're the reason I now have a composter in my backyard, or air dry my clothing. Whatever the Green Act is, it's great to hear that so many people have made changes in their lives and they've inspired others around them. I think that's really where change happens. Like, we're not going to change, all these big environmental problems just as one person. And so we need to act as a group, we need to act as a community, and we need people to not only do their own thing in their own household, because, sometimes it is discouraging, that we can't possibly get rid of every single piece of plastic we have in our homes, right? Like, there's some things we just aren't able to do. And so kind of overcoming that and saying, okay, I am one person and I can do as much as I can. And then I can inspire those around me to do more too as well through this, so that helping them start their journey. And then, it's a ripple effect, right? And that's really where things have kind of come for the past several years.
Yeah, kind of taking that opportunity to just, like you said, be a cheerleader to people to kind of change their lifestyles to be more eco-conscious. Sure. So yeah, what is the most effective way in starting that conversation with someone about environmentalism? Because, there's a lot of people that, deny human-caused climate change and global warming, or for our audience of newcomers, some of them have never had that conversation before. How do you start?
Yeah, good question. I think for us, I think it's more, I think you start conversations by taking an action. So, maybe you install a rain barrel and somebody sees you do that and they say, well, why are you doing that? Or maybe, you're out with a bunch of friends and, okay, it's COVID, so maybe you're not out with a bunch of friends, but pre-pandemic, let's think pre-pandemic, you're out with a bunch of friends at a barbecue and you're the only person that decided to have a veggie burger. And they might ask, well, why are you a vegetarian? Right? I think like those types of sparks in conversation is where things are going to kind of progress. People are going to start asking questions. And I think that's really the easiest entry point to kind of start a conversation, spark a conversation. And I think that that's the point of somebody taking action. Why are you picking up litter? Or, why are you volunteering here? Why are you planting this tree? Like, just when people see you doing something, they might ask questions. And I think that's really the easiest place to begin. And it's the safest place to begin. And I think that it puts you in a leadership position to kind of educate people on what you're doing and why you're doing it. So I think that is the best way to start a conversation, is to take action and let people know you're taking action, then allow them to kind of come to you and then kind of describe why you're doing a certain action.
Yeah, you're talking about this action-oriented approach, and you've mentioned a couple of things: starting up a rain barrel, a compost, air drying your clothes. Sure. What are some other ways someone can live their life to become or reduce their environmental or carbon footprint? Because I've seen videos and things of like, oh, this is the average amount of meat someone eats in a year, or like, this is how much plastic you go through. It can be pretty crazy. How can we adjust our lives to reduce that?
Yeah, for sure. So I would recommend people download the Random Acts of Green app. And that has a list of 40 different things that people can do to reduce their emissions. And so each Green Act is quantified by the amount of greenhouse gas emissions that are reduced by each action. So you can actually see which things are going to make an impact and how much impact that they're going to make. So things like reducing your beef consumption, like we've mentioned, reducing meat of any type. It'll actually allow you to say, okay, I'm not eating meat. I've reduced it by this amount, and here's how much carbon I've helped save. What's really cool about the app is it gamifies it. So it allows you to see, the amount of carbon that you've reduced. And then basically the more you've reduced, the more green points that you earn. And so it's kind of a fun way to get involved. If you're a brand new beginner, you have no idea where to start, it kind of speaks to those people, because it lets them know that this is a safe place, and that it just helps educate people with different ideas. So that's a really great way to get involved, is download the Random Acts of Green app. You can also follow us on social media. We have like 3,000, I think actually maybe 3,500 plus different Random Acts of Green that people can do at any time
that's awesome.
Yeah, so we are always kind of promoting, like we have a huge database of different things that people can do at different times of the year. We're always, posting them on our social channels and writing new content, putting things out there so people are educated. Just this month, we ran a pledge for No Mow May, and basically that inspired people not to mow their lawns for the month of May. And that we had so many people do this, and basically this helps protect our pollinator species, to give bees a chance, on the different dandelions that are out there. They're not weeds. They're great ways to encourage pollinators to get some food and to pollinate, and so increases the biodiversity of your area. And so we encourage so many people to do that this year, and it was a great success. So that's just one of many examples that we like to feature on our platforms. There's countless others, like picking up litter while you walk your dog, right? That's another easy thing to do. And so we like to raise awareness about random things that people can do at any time, whether it's fixing a piece of ripped clothing, like how is that good for the environment, right? And we kind of raise awareness about that and tell people to, extend products life and shop local, to shop secondhand. All of these great things are things we promote on our platforms. And that's kind of, the greatest way, I think, to do that. And, there's so many things people can do. And I feel like people kind of stop at picking up litter and tree planting or recycling, and that's great. And I applaud those things, and I hope people continue to do them. But there are so many other things that people may not have thought about in their lifestyles that are kind of the low-hanging fruit, that are easy to do, that actually do make that impact. And definitely swapping out meat is a big one. But again, people, there's barriers to doing that, right? Like some people might have grown up on a meat and potato diet, or, there might be cultural reasons why people do that. So, if you can't completely, cut meat out, we like to promote meatless Mondays. So, not having meat on Mondays, or trying to reduce or phase out rather than, make that drastic change. So being okay with not being perfect. So we like to promote being imperfect, just trying and learning and unlearning, I think is a really important part of being a part of Random Acts of Green, whether you're a member, a follower, or just hearing about us for the first time. Like, this is a very welcoming place, and we're not here to point fingers. If you, forgot your reusable bag someday, we're not going to judge you and say that you're a terrible environmentalist or a terrible person. I think it's just about being inclusive and being open to that dialogue and starting conversations. And that's really, I think, how we've gotten this far with this type of approach, is because we've welcomed people in from all different backgrounds and, all different political stripes. It doesn't matter if you're conservative, liberal, NDP, it really doesn't matter. It's just being open and transparent and inviting people into the conversation. And that's really where I feel we've made the biggest impact, is not just preaching to the choir, people that are already green, right? We want to get the people that might not be green yet. Those are the people we want to kind of invite in, because we can help them for sure.
Yeah, you've talked a bit about, personal responsibilities someone can do to make a difference.
Yeah.
When it comes to our representatives, what can we do for them to take it seriously, to make those legislative changes that helps promote environmentalism and protecting just our beautiful country?
Yeah, great question. I think I'm a big believer in, change starts with people, right? Like governments and politicians, like they're all people. They all have families. They all have lives. They all have, extracurricular things that they get involved with. They have hobbies. They all have things that, they all eat and drink and do all the same things that we do. And I think that, speaking to them in that way and kind of talking to them in a way that, recognizes that they're people too, kind of getting them at their core, and understanding, like, if they're not making personal changes, then, I just don't think it's going to spill over in their work. Right. And I think that is the case with a lot of things. You have to be personally engaged with this on some level, or you're not going to understand why this is important, whether it's connecting back to nature and getting outside more and enjoying this beautiful country as it is, encouraging our politicians to do things like camping or canoeing or hiking or kayaking or whatever it is to remember and get connected to nature and why it's so important to connect it. Even just that, right, is a great way to kind of encourage them to think why there are so many people that are fighting against big environmental problems, whether it's biodiversity loss, climate change, pollution, food waste. Like all of these things have one thing in common, right? It requires people to take action, whether that's a group of people like a corporation or a government, or whether it's a family, right? Like it all requires us to think about it and think differently and to take action and come together to take action, right? Because individuals can't act alone. We need our governments. We need our corporations. Like we all have to work kind of together. We all have to be on the same page. And the only way to get us there is for people to pay attention and get people to pay attention. So yeah, I would recommend, like, obviously writing to your MP, writing to your local officials is a great way to kind of get them to pay attention, get them to notice, but until it kind of hits home somehow, right? Like until it hits their lifestyle, then it's hard to get them to really pipe up and really pay attention. So trying to, get more involved with Random Acts of Green and other organizations like us. Of course, we're not the only group that promotes sustainability like this. So I don't care who's saving the planet as long as everyone's kind of working together to do it. There's lots of groups out there, but if they are interested in paying attention to the work that we're doing, we have had a lot of MPs follow along with us and that type of thing. And I think that's made a big impact, right? Local officials, councillors, mayors, having them follow along with the work that we're doing, I think that will make an impact too as well. So just spreading the word, I think, is key.
So where can people find out more about Random Acts of Green?
Sure. So thanks, Brian, again for having me. And people can find us at raog.ca, or they can follow along on Facebook, Random Acts of Green, or on Instagram, Random Acts of Green. Those are the handles, or they can send us an email at info@raog.ca. And also we would encourage folks, if they are interested in learning more, to become a member with Random Acts of Green. I think that's the best way to kind of get involved and kind of understand the organization and what we're all about.
Do you want to learn more about Random Acts of Green? Visit their website and join their community to create change. If you have any stories you'd like us to share or communities we should highlight, leave a comment on our social media or reach out to us on our website. I'm Ryan Funk. This was You Talk, and have yourself a good one.